Hey guys, it's Dave of My Freedom Smokes. Today I'm here to talk to you about a sample we received in from Wismec. It's the Sinuous FJ200. Looks wise, it looks a lot like the old Predator, Sinuous Predator Wismec released. This guy's actually got a built-in 4400 milliamp battery, so no longer using the dual 18650s. Your user interface and everything's very similar to the Wismec RX Gen 3. And this actual kit came with a tank. I forgot it actually came with a tank. Been using RDA on there, so I'm going to show you guys the tank before we get started with it. They call this the divider tank. It's a little 2 mil capacity tank, but it does have a little stopper you can take out to make it a 4 mil capacity. Looks like it's using the same kind of coils like the Alabo and everything else has been using lately. The little WS01 coil, and let's see if both coils are the same on that. Secondary coil, where you at? Yeah, that's the number 2, so it does have both of the coils, or 2 different kinds of coils. This one's 40 to 120 watts, and this one's 40 to 80 watts, which this will actually work out better because I'm using 65 watts currently. So let's go ahead and pop this guy off of here. All right, and that tank, like I said, does have a little stopper, this little white silicone looking piece in here. If you were to pull that out, which it's kind of hard to pull it out, it might be a little difficult to get it off on camera because you kind of got to get back in there with a pick. Once you take that little piece out of there, this becomes a 4 mil capacity tank instead of a 2 mil. And all it is that right there is just blocking you from being able to put a full 4 mils in there. So I'm going to go ahead and put my tank together. I already have my coil has been pre-primed. I want him to prime that up. Just put my tank back together, fill her up, and have a vape on. You guys get to see a live, well, not live, I'm recording, but you know what I mean. It'll be my first time trying to tank out, so you get to see that on camera. Kind of like when we did our little videos we did a while back, the little surprise looks or whatever, when we get tossed a random item. So let's fill her up. Nice little sliding top fill on here. That's probably about all she's going to take. 2 mils just doesn't seem like enough. All right, close her off. The airflow in there, kind of cool. Little weird little shapes, and then matching shapes up here that don't really do anything, but they show off the Wismec logo when the airflow is all the way open, at least on that one side. All right, so I'm doing 65 watts. Not a bad little tank, about what you expect from like the Alabos and the Amores and some of the stuff that's come out from Wismec. Putting off some good flavor. Probably be even better once I've had a few more vapes off of it and give it time to break in a little bit. But the mod itself is the main thing I've been testing. Like I said, I actually forgot there was a tank in the box and kind of realized it right before we went on air here. This little mod looks a lot like the Predator. Built-in battery, changed up the user interface a little bit. The buttons are now kind of like, almost like little C-clamps, or almost like little Pac-Man facing each other. Just great look. I really like the original Predator. I've always thought it was a good look. It felt great. It worked well. But there was the big elephant in the room with the 510 connection. They have addressed that on this guy, and I can show you that in a moment. Everything's working nice though. I'm going to take this tank back off and show you. Now on the original Predator, people had some issues. It wasn't very common. I mean, it was common, but not common enough that it was a super concern. I mean, we deal with customers here a lot, and I work in customer service, do get to hear a lot of the calls and emails and stuff about the 510. So we didn't have a whole lot here personally of people having the issue, but there's a lot of guys out on YouTube that are having trouble with that 510 just pulling right out of there. On the original Predator, the 510 was the threading down the side and this little airflow up top were all like one solid piece that were kind of press fit in there. And what was happening is sometimes it would get bumped, or they go to pull off a cap on an RDA and they'd pull the whole 510 threading out of the connector there. This guy, the way they have it set up is the threading's down in there, and it looks like this airflow is actually milled into the top of the body, so I'm thinking they installed it from the inside. So you're not going to have to worry about that 510 pulling out on this. I'm sure if it can happen, will have a video where they've made it happen, but I don't see that happening anyway, the way this has been designed. That the airflow crisscross on there is part of the body of the mod itself, and the threading's down inside, and no real way for it to even come out. So it looks like they definitely improved upon it. They listened to what concerns were from users on the original Predator, and definitely address on this 510. Cool thing is you got your battery bar on here, and you also got little indicator lights on either side. Both sides have the same indicator, so when you're firing it actually glows green, and as it gets lower that does change colors on you. Alright, so I have a couple more vapes on it, and kind of tell you my final thoughts and send you on your way for this video. Overall, I really like this FJ200 from Sinuous. As I mentioned before, I was a fan of the original Predator. I never personally had any issues with that 510, and I don't think it's as widespread as some people have let on. Being in customer service, I really didn't get a whole lot of calls about people with that issue. Maybe 1 out of 100 customers would have an issue as far as what I've dealt with. So I really think it is good though that they did have enough attention to it that they addressed that for this design, given the same kind of look and feel with the built-in battery, and then just coming out with an overall better device, I feel. I really don't have anything else to say about the Sinuous FJ200. I hope we do end up picking them up and they show up on the website soon, because this has been a great little device for me. Any questions about it, please leave them in the comments below. As always, I'm David with My Freedom Smokes, and thank you for vaping.